Ty liked animals. We got a bloodhound from the Bloodhound Rescue, and he nursed her back to health. I think Ty would have probably ended up being a veterinarian because he just had a magic touch with animals. He really liked animals, which people think is odd because he liked to hunt, but real hunters actually love the animals. He never wanted to see anybody unhappy. He couldn't stand for anyone to have a bad day. We spent time together out in the woods and in the fields. And there was a lot of communication that didn't even consist of words, just being together out in nature. You learn a lot about each other. I don't hunt with unsafe people. I trusted Ty with my life. Many, many times he'd walk down a trail with a loaded gun, behind me, and I knew that I was safe. Sneaking up on me. He was always little for his age, a lot smaller than everybody else in his class, and that's part of the reason that made him such an easy target. One morning, Ty was eating breakfast at school, and he was sitting at the table, and this bigger kid, 2 years older than him, threw his backpack up on the table, and his backpack bumped Ty's tray, and Ty shoved it back out of the way. And this kid took his chocolate milk and dumped it over Ty's head. We never got a phone call to come and get him and clean him up, bring him a new shirt, anything. We didn't even know about it. The morning Ty died, he went to school with his mom. He helped the ladies in the kitchen where his mom worked open the big cans or whatever. He always was helping them. At 9 o'clock, I got a phone call from my wife, and she said Ty got suspended from school. And I said, why? And she said him and this kid got into it. So-and-so was picking on him again, and Ty fought back and got caught, and they suspended him. She said, I'm going to take him home. And they were short-handed at work, so she couldn't stay home with him. And he was 11, and he stayed home by himself before. She brought him home. She told him to do his chores, do his homework. At 2:30, she left work and came home, and she found that he had not done his chores, and he had not done his homework. He had instead gone and gotten a pistol that I had taught him to shoot and that we had shot many, many times together, and he had put it to his head. And he had taken his own life. And at 2:38, I got a phone call from my wife's number. And she was screaming, just screaming. And I asked her, honey, please, you tell me what's wrong, what's going on, and she just screamed. Miss Jordan, she just screamed and screamed and screamed. And so I had to scream back. And I told her, you've got to shut up and calm down a minute and tell me what is going on. And she managed to say, he's dead. And I said, do what? Who's dead? And she said, Ty, he killed himself. She was here for 30 minutes alone before the first responder got here, alone with my boy. The day after my son died, I sat in my closet floor holding my wife in my arms. And I told her in the floor in there while I held her that she could just go go crazy. All she wanted, as long as she promised me that she would do it in my arms, where I knew she was safe.
Have you been able to laugh or anything since?
You know what, that's an interesting question. You were the first one that has asked about our happiness. I appreciate that. And we went out to dinner with some friends of ours. And on the way home, I looked at Laura and I said, I don't feel right. And she said, what do you mean? And she said, no, wait, I know what you mean. She said, I don't either. I said, I feel guilty that we had a good time. You know, that we smiled, even if it was just for an hour. He wanted us to be happy, and now we're not happy. We feel guilty when we smile. We were pretty close. He was my little shadow. He was my hunting buddy. He was his mom's best friend. We thought we knew our son. And I still think we know our son. One of the ladies from the community was overheard by us. Well, if they wouldn't have had guns in the house at my son's funeral, my answer to that is, been better for you if he'd hung himself or if he'd overdosed on pills or poison. These people are not realizing what the issue is here. It's not how he died. It's the fact that he felt so despondent because of being picked on relentlessly at school that he decided the only way out was to take his own life. It's not how he took his life that matters. Ty died about a week before school was out. There was about 4 days left in school. And I felt like everybody was going to just try to make it through the final week. Hope that it went away for them during the summertime. Well, I decided that I wasn't going to let it go away for everybody else, because it ain't going to go away for me and his mama. It slaps us in the face every single morning. So I decided that I was going to keep it out there, keep it in front of them. Whatever it took, I was going to call the TV stations, the newspapers, the radios, anybody that would listen, I was going to talk to. Well, apparently I kept it alive, because on July 8th, I came home from work and I turned on the news and I saw this message from these OSU OKC Upward Bound students. They had started this group called Stand for the Silent in Ty's honor and memory, and they had decided that they were going to join my fight. They were going to take on the world. We're going to take on all comers against bullying. We're going to fight it wherever we find it. These are some of the notes that some of Ty's schoolmates wrote. I remember on the bus when I first started writing, he was one of the kids that befriended me when nobody did. Ty was a boy with a good heart. He was always nice to me. I went to school with him all my life. I remember when he got a deer and told just about everybody. He always wore blue jeans and camo. I will never forget him. He touched my heart in so many ways. I love you, Ty. You are now God's angel. And heaven is blessed to have you. I was blessed to have known you. Love always. Renee Nataro.
As a filmmaker, I think it is very important for you to get your subject to open up to you. And I did that by just really being myself. I was really honest with him. I didn't try and act any different than I would normally. I didn't come in there and say, you know, well, I'm a filmmaker and here I am, and, you know, pay attention to me. Whenever I was filming his interview, I was acting almost as a viewer, as an audience, as a person. I was responding to his responses. I was in an emotional way, maybe not even verbal. I mean, whenever he tells a story about the death, I mean, I cried.